Hello, welcome to Gabie's Knit Goodies. I am Gabie. This is my co-host Moose. Hopefully he will be a quiet co-host today. Unlike last time, he caused me troubles. And we are here to talk about the Coast to Coast wrap, amongst some other projects I have going on, but this is my big one and the one I'm most excited about. Coast to Coast wrap is by Toe Up Wands. I think her name is Alexandra. And all of the show notes will be below. I'll also try to put this up on my Ravelry page as well, in the Ravelry group, Gabie's Knit Goodies. So the show notes could be there as well. And I try to link things like the pattern as well as the yarns I use, if I can. So, without further ado, I'm Gabie. This is Gabie's Knit Goodies. You can find me at Gabie's Knit Goodies on all kinds of social media, like Instagram and Etsy shop for my yarn, and Ravelry and loveknitting.com. Okay, my co-host has decided to settle down, so you can't see him anymore. Alright, so I guess I will talk about this first, even though I have a couple of other projects to go over. This is the big one, so this is one I want to talk most about. And it is complete. So the Coast to Coast wrap, I will put her picture up here. It is intended to be used with, I think it's a Lion Brand yarn. Alexandra Tavel, that's her name. I did write notes this time. She works with Lion Brand yarn, I think, a good bit. The pattern can be found for free on her website, the Toe Up Wands website, as well as you can purchase it and then not have to, and then you can have a PDF to download. I did the free web version, although it was would have been convenient to have had a PDF to download because you really have to refer to all the different charts. I would not say that this was super difficult to knit. The color work is mosaic knitting, which is using slip stitches as opposed to working with two yarns at the same time. You only ever work with one yarn at a time, and all the color work comes through with just slip stitches, which is pretty cool. One thing I like about that is that the back of it, you don't have as many like long strands on it, and it also, because you're not always carrying a second yarn through, I feel like it gives it a lot more stretch, a lot more flexibility, like a stockinette stitch. Whereas I feel like with stranded knitting sometimes, or most of the time, the fabric has much less stretch in it. Let me know if you agree. But the mosaic color work seems to be very stretchy, very similar to just regular stockinette stitch, which I like that. Okay, back to yarns. Her pattern calls for a heavy worsted weight yarn, or even Aran weight yarn, which makes it almost blanket size, as you see in the picture. Which I really like the one she has in the picture, but actually wearing a blanket is not as, I wouldn't choose to wear it out of the house as much probably, just because it's so large, it would feel like wearing a blanket out. So I used a DK weight yarn for mine, and I did not change like the cast on stitches or the charts or anything else. I didn't change the amount of rows between things, anything like that. There's only one change that I made to make, because I wanted it a little bit longer than what it turned out to be, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But in terms of width, it is like a wide, really wide scarf. It's definitely a wrap size. When I wear it here, I have pictures I'll also put up, but it goes down all the way from my neck, bunched up on my neck, past my elbow here. So it's not small by any means. And as you can see, you can totally cover my front. But it's not quite as large as a blanket. You can wear it over your shoulder and come down your back. Comes all the way to, see, my jeans are right here. So it comes almost all the way down to my jeans in the back, covering my whole back. If I wear it like that, but it's not so huge and bulky that I can't comfortably wear it with a coat as a more of a scarf. And you bunch it up. So I am thrilled with it, I have to say. So, all right, I'm going to continue to go through my modifications with it. I use DK weight yarn, and this is my own hand-dyed yarn, all available on Etsy, Gabie's Knit Goodies. And I used 5 different colorways. And I will post here all of which colorways I used for which yarns for her pattern. So she lists it like A, B, C, D, and E for her colors to use. And so I will list it down below, the exact color names for each A, B, C, D, and E that I ended up using to make one just like mine. Yeah, so all my notes will be down there. And I'm actually going to start a blog so I can kind of write up things in a little more detail for you guys. And I'll put all the details also on my Ravelry project page as well. Yes. So anyways, DK weight yarn instead of like the heavy worsted weight yarn. And pattern calls for a size 10 knitting needle. I used a size 7. The gauge of the pattern calls for 15 stitches and 20 rows over 4 inches, 10 centimeters, in stockinette stitch, and my gauge is 20 stitches and 28 rows for that same 4-inch or 10 centimeter square. And the dimensions of the pattern, so the pattern calls for you to end up with a scarf that is 28 inches wide and 74 inches long. I should get a measuring tape. 24 inches. I don't know, hold on. So my wrap ended up being about 19.5 inches wide. So if this is about 20 inches wide, then hers would be, I have to back up, would come all the way out to, from here to about here, I guess. So like a throw. And her length is 74 inches. Mine, I ended up with 65 inches. But that was my only place I really had to make any real modification, was to get my length. So if you're not familiar with this pattern, I already talked about the color work and how that is done. You start at the bottom here. This edging is at the end. So imagine doing this, you knit up this way, and you don't have this edging on it at all. So you do some garter here, and then there's a chart to do the mosaic color work here, and I believe she even has it written out as well as charted. Yeah, she has it written as well as charted. And I used matcha and pumpkin for this one, and it's pretty cute. And not only is it mosaic color work, but it's also textured. So she uses garter as well as mosaic at the same time, which it's really not any more difficult at all, but it adds this nice nice texture to it. There's a lot of interest in this shawl. And between each chart you have some, basic stockinette stitch, which kind of, you go from something that requires focus to something that's kind of mindless. So this is my matcha green tea latte there, and just a little bit of striping. And then this is another big chart, and it has what I'm calling now caramel macchiato and dark and stormy. As you see, most of these colorways are named after hot beverages that I enjoy. Knitting and cozy cups of yummy drinks seem to go hand in hand in my mind. So then she has more stockinette with some striping, a little bit of garter, and then another chart here. And then, so you're knitting, and so this is where you're supposed to end, right here, and then you do it all over again from here, and you have to go all the way back and do it all over again. Oh, that one I didn't talk about, I don't think. This is the Mexican hot chocolate, the reds and browns, and then the dark and stormy. I like that chart a lot, I think it's cute. So I did that for both sides, and I realized it was just not quite as long as I would like, and I had a bunch of the pumpkin left over, and so I decided that I would just continue and use up all the rest of my pumpkin and then seam that together. So that gave me, I don't know, another foot, which made it just the right length for me. So I'm excited about that. Now, the biggest thing I dislike about this pattern, well, a couple of things. You kind of get the whole feeling of like second sock syndrome or sleeve island vibe going on, because after you're like, yes, I'm excited, I finished this whole panel, you start back over at the beginning and you do it all over again, and getting over that hump of, okay, let me start back at the beginning and do it all over again in order to finish, you know, I don't know, it gives me that same feeling as doing those sleeves and just repeating the, like if you're doing something that has a back and a front in pieces, and so you bind off and they're like, yay, and then you're like, oh, now I have to cast on for the other piece. I don't know. It's always difficult to do that for me. Anyways, I guess because it's just not as exciting because it's not new. The first time you cast on, it's all new. But the second time, for the second one, it's not brand new anymore. So it's not quite as exciting. And then the other thing, which I think is a necessary evil in this instance, but you have to pick up the entire edge on both sides, pick up stitches all the way, and then knit these long garter rows on the edge to create this edging. So that is not difficult to do, but I don't enjoy picking up that many stitches. However, I feel it's a totally necessary thing. Otherwise, it doesn't look finished and beautiful. It looks a little unfinished. Now, I've seen people in the project pages on Ravelry who didn't pick up the edges. And it's still really pretty, but I think it really adds something to have, kind of like adding a picture frame to a picture. I don't know, it seems to add that nice finishing touch. And then, after you do all that, the very last thing are the lovely tassels. You're supposed to have like 12 tassels on each side. I am not a huge fan of creating tassels. And I think I still need to trim this one, but that one looks trimmed. I'll show this one off. But I made 4 tassels and then just attach them to the ends because I do think it's cute, but I don't enjoy making tassels. I might eventually make more. I don't know. We'll see. I do like the look of the tassels, but I'm supposed to have a bunch more. I think that I also, the one other thing that I'm not sure I made note of is with the DK weight yarn, I doubled the strands in my tassel because it looked a little flat with the number that she called for in her pattern. So just to make my tassel a little fatter, especially, it would have been fine if I had done the number of tassels that she asked for. I wouldn't have needed to change them. But I felt like because I was only doing 4 tassels, that it needed a slightly thicker one. So, all in all, I absolutely love it. I love my colors that I chose. I think it reminds me of like the southwest of the United States, like with the turquoisey color and some of the shapes she has in the colorwork sections. It just gives me that, I don't know, New Mexico, West United States feel to it, which I like. I think it's really pretty. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited to wear it, and it's cozy. And as the weather warms up, I can wear this instead of wearing a coat. I can just throw this on and be nice and cozy, warm. I was just going to show you my yarn. I do have yarn in the shop for this shawl. I don't have it as a kit, but I do have a link that you can get dyed to order yarn. So you could order all your colors through that, or you could order them individually. But if they're not available individually, you can always do dyed to order through me. So I used 2 skeins of the Dark and Stormy. That's the blue one. I needed 2 skeins of it because that's what I used for the tassels and the edging, as well as it's throughout the shawl as well. Like it's this one, that one, some up here. So yeah, 2 skeins of Dark and Stormy, 1 of the Mexican Hot Chocolate, which is the browns and reds, and that's in here. See, and I do have leftover yarn of all of it except for the pumpkin, because I used the pumpkin in the back. Pumpkin spice is a spice of life. Matcha green tea latte. This is totally what gives it that Southwest United States vibe, that Western wear vibe, because it's got that pop of green in there, that tealy green, turquoisey color. And then, I grabbed the fingering weight version, but this is, I was calling this eggnog, but I've decided since it's not the holidays for one, and because it has more browns in it, that I'm going to call it caramel macchiato. I love a caramel macchiato, if it's not too sweet. This is actually a fingering weight one. I accidentally picked up fingering weight, but I have it in DK as well. So, if you want to knit your own DK weight version, or anything else out of this color combo, you may not choose them, like initially have sought these out to go together, but I just think they combined to make the most fun colors together. It's fantastic. Yay. So, yes, like I said, I'm starting up a blog. I will put that in the link below. I will put show notes, a link to the pattern, to the yarn, and yeah. Let me know if you end up knitting this. I would love to see it. Of course, you can always email me your projects, and I would love to share them on my podcast. So if you knit anything that you want to show off, let me know. All right, moving on. I have another finished object. It's been a little while since I podcasted. I kind of was low on the podcasting mojo, I guess. I don't know why. But anyways, since my last one, I think I had started these last time. These are the Trusty Toe Up Socks by Tanis Fiber Arts. Yes, Tanis Fiber Arts. And it's knit out of water lilies and boysenberry. This is boysenberry. Monet water lilies, inspired by the Monet's water lilies paintings. So I have not been a huge sock knitter, so I don't have a lot of experience with that. And I started to knit these from the toe up, like I said, because I had done a couple of socks cuff down, but I wanted to try toe up. So that's what I did. And because I had never actually purchased a sock set with the 20 gram mini and the full skein, I wasn't sure how far the minis would go. So I didn't start with my purple, but I should have, because I have a ton of it left. So this is boysenberry, and I totally should have done the toe as well as the heel and cuff, because I had more than enough to do that. Next time I'll know. Well, the next time I'm doing a slightly different sock. I've already started that. They fit really well, and I like them. I have a lot of yarn left over. This is the Monet water lilies, and it's got 463 yards in this, and then I think this one's 92 maybe. But I was surprised at how much I have left over. My daughter is thrilled because she wants a sock made out of them. So I'm gonna weigh it and see how much I have, and then make her some socks. Maybe I could try 2 at a time, like toe up 2 at a time, and then I would know exactly how much I have left for like how long I can make them. That might be a good idea. Or I could always just save my leftovers, because I think I'm gonna make like one of those mitered square blankets or like a granny stripe blanket. And yeah, thinking about that. Anyways, been inspired by mini skeins lately. So I have a ton left over. So definitely doing a little girl's pair of socks. These fit really well. Tried them on. So these heels are short row heels. I did one, and now I'm not sure which one. Oh, I think I see it. I did one with just regular short rows, or the wrap and turn short row. And then I did the other one with the German short row, because this first one I did, and I think I talked about it last time too, it's a little holy there. I don't know if y'all can see that at all, but I feel like it has some little holes at that short row wrap and turn spot. So I decided I wanted to experiment and do German short rows on the other sock. And I do feel like, it's a little neater and maybe a little less gappy there, but they're similar. And I feel like this type of heel, that was pretty easy to do, I feel like it might wear faster than a heel flap and gusset, which is the one I had done in a previous sock. So, I don't know. Y'all let me know. Are you sock knitters? And if so, what type of heel do you prefer? And do you find that the afterthought heel and the short row heel, do they wear faster than the heel flap and gusset? And also, which one fits best for you? I have not yet worn these other than to try them on, because I wanted them to be pretty and not dirty when I showed them off. So, yeah. Anyways, it's my socks. I'm very excited about them. I've gotten into wearing my hand-dyed socks because the only other ones I have that are fingering weight are Christmas socks, and I started wearing those this year and thoroughly enjoying them, and actually like washed it in the washing machine and it was fine. So I've been laying them out to dry though. I don't want to shrink them. They might be fine, I don't know, but I lay them out to dry. So that's that. The next object I'm going to show is a work in progress. I have a couple of them. This one, I actually have my yarn in a little bowl. Isn't that lovely? And these are, let me think. This is by Tea Knitting. Her Instagram handle is Tea Knitting, and I believe her, like on Ravelry, she might be Tea Knitting as well, and that's like her shop name. That's who did the pattern. The pattern, Rosemary Socks. Yes, Rosemary Socks. That noise is because it's windy outside and we have these big chimes out there. You know, I hear a bird. It's really pretty outside right now. So these are the Rosemary Socks by Tea Knitting. And the sock set is called Just Peachy. So it's that matcha green tea latte, and then Just Peachy is the main one here. There you go, now you can see the pattern. So it's just a top-down sock. I'm knitting these for my daughter, so I've modified the pattern a little. I cast on, it's 48 stitches around. The pattern is in multiples of 4. It is a free pattern. And so the Trusty Toe Up Sock is also a free pattern. Now, she uses them with scrap yarn, the pattern designer, and she's holding, I think maybe mohair or just 2 yarns together. I think it might be like a lace weight mohair and then a fingering weight throughout hers, and like she blends it together as she goes. So her yarn's a little bit thicker in each strand because she's holding it together with a lace weight. Anyways, all that to say, she only has 1 strand here for this, and I did 2 lines of the green there so that it would just show up a little bit more. And I think that worked out quite well. That's the only thing I changed as far as that goes. And she only has it written for 1 size, and I just decided to figure out what would be best for my daughter and do that. And as is written in the pattern, she has a heel flap and gusset, so I was excited to do that. So I'm doing the heel flap and gusset, and that's working out well. Now, she has it where you decrease like every row here for the gusset, and but she says if you need more room, you can do every other row. Initially did every row, and then I had my daughter try it on, and it really like pulled right here, like right where those decreases were. So I ripped it back and then did every other row, and that's much better. So that would be my recommendation. Every row it decreases back down really fast, and that just didn't seem to work well. I'm really enjoying this. It's very happy, like cheerful colorway, and if you notice, like most of my yarns have multiple things going on in them. I really like speckles with a lot of different variety in there, and even like my blue has a little bit of black in it, it has brown in it, because it's more fun when it changes. So like this Just Peachy one, it has a whole bunch of different specks in there, primarily little green specks, but some yellow, a little bit of blue, and that just, it makes it so much fun while I'm knitting it to just like, I don't know, be surprised at what little stitch I'm knitting next that's a different color than the one before. So thrilled with these. My daughter cannot wait to put them on her feet and wear them. So now I have to finish this one and then knit another one. I'm going to do the toes green. I decided because it was a heel flap and gusset not to do the heel a different color. And yeah, I know I'll have tons of yarn left over after this, so I will knit something else with it. Okay, so yeah, just peachy, and they're so happy. Yay. Last whip, and it's a big one. Not bigger than what I'm wearing, but still a big whip. This is the Goldwing sweater by Jennifer Steinglass of knit.love.wool. That's her handle. I believe that is her business name as well. And I had just finished I take that back. I am on the last row of the color work. I thought I had just finished it, but I am wrong. I'm on the last row of the color work section. I ran out of green from my first ball of yarn, so I have to do another one. This is one of my little stitch markers I have, or my progress keeper rather, that I made. I tried to put some of those in the shop too. So here it is. Isn't it beautiful? I chose to do the rolled neckline and not the ribbed neckline, because I think everything else I own has a ribbed neckline, just about. So I wanted something different. And my main body color is going to be the green. So it's fading from shifting from the dark gray to the green. I really love how it shifts the dominance. So you go from like the background being all of the gray with a little bit of green, and then at the bottom your background is green, and then the color work picture is in the gray. I just think that's kind of cool and simple, but like striking. My mom actually picked out this pattern for me to knit. The yarn is lovely. It is from the Fiber Company. It's called Terra, and it is a blend of silk noil, baby alpaca, and merino wool. And that silk noil is creates these little nubbins in the yarn. I don't know if that's the right technical word for them, but almost like a tweed would have the little nubs, but not quite that pronounced. It just gives it a little bit of texture. I don't even know if you can really see it, but you can kind of see it has texture. It is very silky and soft. It is a single ply yarn, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I am knitting it at a tighter gauge than what the yarn calls for, but I believe it's a similar grams per yard ratio as what her Goldwing pattern called for. It is a 196 yards, that's 179 meters per 100 grams of yarn. Yeah, so it's a fairly dense. It's a fairly dense one. I'm going to see all my floats in there. I think I'm doing a pretty good job with that. So yeah, I'm on like my last round before I guess I'll start thinking about slitting for the sleeves. This is going to be very warm and soft and nice, and I'm excited about it. Yay, I love knitting. It's so much fun. Alright, that is all I have for you today. Maybe I'll put some pictures up now of like shop stuff, the different yarns I have in the shop, if you are interested in doing that. And I'm also thinking about maybe doing a little bit of like dye studio vlog. I was thinking about it could be like kind of like a vlogging, like my journey in trying to create a job out of my hobby. And trying to build a hand-dyed yarn business, would you guys be interested in watching that journey? I am, I'm not trying to make it in terms of like a tutorial how to do a yarn dyeing job, or how to make your hobby a jobby, but more of a, this is just me and my story. Whether it would be a success or not, I have no idea, but I am enjoying dyeing yarn. So, and I have lovely, lovely things to show for it. So if it never really takes off and becomes an actual job for me, that's okay. I mean, it would be sad, but at least I have fun stuff to show for it in the meantime. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about that. I think it could be fun. It could be a little disheartening at times, but it could be fun too. Anyways, thank you for hanging out with me and checking out all my knitting. Let me know if you have any questions about what I've done here with this that I didn't answer in this video or in the blog or Ravelry or wherever. Yeah, please feel free to get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. Bye.